Beneath the dazzling lights of Hollywood, there lies a story forged in the shadows of pain and perseverance, the story of a woman who refused to let adversity define her. Before her face became familiar across movie posters and TV screens, a young girl in Roswell, New Mexico, was fighting for her place in a world that offered her little more than chaos. Demi Moore's life is not simply the story of a celebrity, it's a powerful narrative of survival, identity, and resilience. Can someone truly rewrite their story, even when its beginning is so deeply marked by suffering? And when fame finally arrives, does it heal the wounds of the past, or only expose them further? Born on November 11, 1962, Demi Moore entered the world under the weight of abandonment. Her father left before she was even born, and her mother, overwhelmed by poverty and instability, struggled to provide more than survival. From the start, Demi's life was defined by movement, not the exciting kind, but the kind that meant never settling, never feeling safe. Her childhood was riddled with constant relocations and the looming specter of alcoholism. At the age of 12, she faced a horror no child should endure, rescuing her own mother from a suicide attempt. And just 3 years later, she suffered a profound betrayal, one so devastating it would leave a lifelong scar, when she became the victim of assault, orchestrated by her own mother. These early years were not just difficult, they were traumatic. She carried these invisible wounds silently while battling dyslexia and a serious eye condition, trying to survive both at home and in a school system that saw her as different, less than, or simply invisible. At just 16, Demi had had enough. She left school, driven not by rebellion but by necessity. There was no map, no guarantee, just the aching need to escape the chaos. She worked odd jobs, turned to modeling, and tried to carve out an identity amid the noise of survival. At 17, she married musician Freddie Moore, a relationship that was more about reinvention than romance. Though the marriage didn't last, it gave her something she desperately craved: a new name, a fresh start, and a sense of control over her story. Her break into acting wasn't meteoric, but it was meaningful. Playing Jackie Templeton on General Hospital, she didn't just read lines, she delivered them with a raw, emotional truth that drew people in. But even as her star began to rise, addiction threatened to drag her under. Recognizing the signs, director Joel Schumacher intervened during the filming of St. Elmo's Fire, making sure she had support on set. That intervention was a lifeline, marking the beginning of her long, complex relationship with sobriety. St. Elmo's Fire wasn't just a career milestone, it reflected Demi's own turmoil and intensity, and it pulled her into the famous Brat Pack, an elite circle of young Hollywood actors navigating fame and scrutiny together. From there, her rise was undeniable. With roles in About Last Night and the cultural juggernaut Ghost, Demi Moore became more than a star, she became a global icon. Her chemistry with Patrick Swayze, the now legendary pottery scene, and her striking haircut transformed her into a trendsetter overnight. But behind the iconic status was a woman still grappling with her worth, still figuring out who she was beyond the screen. Her marriage to Bruce Willis, another Hollywood heavyweight, created a power couple that captivated the public. Together, they weren't just movie stars, they were parents, businesspeople, and symbols of ambition. But Demi never settled for being just one thing. In 1992, she took on a groundbreaking role in A Few Good Men, standing toe-to-toe with male leads and shattering gender norms in the process. Then came Indecent Proposal, a film that sparked cultural debates about morality, power, and the female experience. While some feminist critics pushed back, Moore remained undeterred, drawn to roles that challenged her and forced audiences to confront uncomfortable truths. Her career wasn't just about entertainment, it was about provoking thought. That same daring spirit led her to Striptease and G.I. Jane, films that pushed boundaries and tested the limits of public opinion. For Striptease, she earned a record-setting paycheck, but also weathered harsh criticism. Not long after, she shaved her head for G.I. Jane and immersed herself in grueling physical training, delivering a performance that was equal parts muscle and emotion. These roles didn't just challenge Hollywood's expectations of women, they redefined them. She was fierce, unapologetic, and unafraid to take up space. Yet even as her professional life blazed, her personal life flickered with uncertainty. Her marriage to Bruce Willis, while full of affection, was strained by fame and the demands of raising 3 daughters, Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah. Demi pushed boundaries again when she posed nude while pregnant for Vanity Fair, igniting conversations around motherhood, femininity, and body autonomy. She insisted that motherhood and ambition could coexist, even as she struggled with the inevitable guilt of missed milestones. Eventually, she made a significant decision to step back and prioritize her daughters, relocating to Idaho and trading red carpets for school runs. Then came a new chapter, one that captured public imagination and controversy alike. In 2003, Demi Moore began dating Ashton Kutcher, a rising star 25 years her junior. Their whirlwind romance drew intense attention, but behind the headlines was a deep and earnest connection. Kutcher met her daughters and even her ex-husband early on, and the couple married in an intimate ceremony that suggested genuine love. Bruce Willis, remarkably, remained part of the extended family, attending the wedding and maintaining close ties. But even fairy tales can fracture. 6 months into a pregnancy, Moore suffered a heartbreaking miscarriage, a loss that tore through her emotionally and physically. Her desire to have a child with Kutcher became an all-consuming goal, but multiple failed attempts and invasive fertility treatments brought devastation rather than joy. In the effort to preserve the marriage, she agreed to things that left her feeling disconnected from herself, including threesomes suggested by Kutcher. What she hoped would revive intimacy only deepened the cracks between them. On their 6th anniversary, news of Kutcher's affair with a much younger woman emerged. He admitted to the betrayal, and for Moore, the pain was overwhelming. Public scrutiny made everything worse. Despite seeking healing through therapy, counseling, and spiritual exploration, the relationship couldn't be salvaged. Their separation in 2011 and eventual divorce left Moore emotionally shattered. Years of sobriety slipped away as she turned to synthetic drugs and painkillers, her body deteriorating, her mental health spiraling. Hospitalizations, seizures, and severe weight loss followed. Her daughters, once so close, grew distant, unable to recognize the woman their mother had become. The estrangement was gut-wrenching. Tallulah and Rumor spoke of fearing for her life, of mourning someone who is still alive but deeply lost. Rehab became not just a necessity, but a lifeline. Healing wasn't instant, and it wasn't easy. But it came. When Tallulah, after facing her own struggles, reached out to her mother, it marked the beginning of a slow but powerful reconnection. Therapy, honesty, and shared vulnerability helped them rebuild what addiction had broken. One by one, Moore mended ties with her daughters. The emotional retreat they attended together became a moment of catharsis, one that redefined their bond. Their matching tattoos of the word "mom," in Demi's own handwriting, told the world that love could survive even the darkest times. Her relationship with Bruce Willis, too, evolved into something extraordinary. No longer husband and wife, they became unwavering co-parents and lifelong friends. When Willis was diagnosed with aphasia, Moore stood by him, offering support not out of obligation, but out of deep care and history. She showed up, not just for him, but for his new family as well, demonstrating that love can transform, endure, and transcend even romantic endings. Now, as she enters her 60s, Demi Moore radiates a different kind of beauty, the kind forged in honesty, growth, and grace. In a recent interview, she described herself as being in a solo partnership, not alone, but complete. She no longer seeks validation from fame or romance, but from the peace she's found within herself. Her friendship with Emma Heming Willis, her close bond with her daughters, and her joyful companionship with her tiny dog Pilaf reflect the grounded, authentic life she now embraces. Demi Moore's story is not about perfection. It's about transformation, about facing demons, losing battles, and still standing. She's lived through abandonment, betrayal, addiction, and loss, and she's come out the other side with empathy, humor, and a fierce sense of self. Her journey reminds us that it's never too late to heal, never too late to change, and never too late to love yourself. If her story moved you, or made you reflect on your own resilience, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more powerful stories that go beyond the headlines. Until next time, thank you for watching.